we were driven in a convoy to court. I was seated between two police officers and driven to court. And in front of our car, there was a car with a man who was standing with a video, actually taking the entire journey from Kenya Anti-Corruption to court. I felt like a sheep being taken to the slaughter. I actually didn't know what was going on.
Hey everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie and it's Lifestyle Thursday. This is where we discuss everything that concerns us to do with our lifestyle. Today I have an amazing guest. We call her Becky. Her name is Rebecca. And she's here to share her story on her incarceration and life before, during, and after. I'm going to encourage you first, Becky, before I let you introduce yourself to the guest. But one statement that you made that I'll never forget is that when you found yourself in prison, first you said they gathered around you in the morning to see who this VIP is who has come to prison. But you said, and that's the statement that keeps me going, that I say to myself over and over again. You said that if you looked around you and you said, if other people have survived this, you too will survive. You'll get through it. Yes. And that was such an encouragement to me, because I always look at any situation that I'm going through and I say, if other people have been through this, even me, I'm going to get through it. But that day you said it, I think you said many other things, but that stuck with me and has been such a source of encouragement for me. So welcome to Just Angie. Maybe you may tell us who Becky is. We call you Becky, Rebecca. Yes. You have many names and many hats. And who are you?
I'm Rebecca. And my close friends call me Becky. And I am a mother, a mother of 3.
Wow.
And I'm also a wife. Yes. I finished university in the 80s.
Okay.
And in those days, as soon as you finished, you'd get employed.
Imagine, you had a job.
You had a job.
Jobs were waiting.
Jobs were waiting. In fact, we filled in our job applications while we were still at the university.
Campus. Wow.
Yes. So amazing. I filled my application form and I was accepted. I was employed by the government and I was posted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay. Wow, that's very nice.
Yes. So I worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from 1982. I climbed up the ladder from a junior officer and just gradually proceeded up the ladder just like any normal civil servant and went from one position to another to, by God's grace, the top.
To the top now?
To the top.
Wow.
And the top being the permanent secretary.
Okay. It's called permanent secretary.
The permanent secretary. In those days, it was called permanent secretary.
These days, I think it's principal secretary.
Okay. Yes. Okay. But in those days, it was permanent secretary. So before I became the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I was privileged to be appointed chief of protocol.
Wow.
And that was really, really a privileged position, because there's only one chief of protocol in the entire country. There are many permanent secretaries, but one chief of protocol.
Amazing.
So I was appointed chief of protocol and I served in that position for 2 years.
Okay.
And thereafter I was appointed permanent secretary. So I served in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for just less than a year.
Okay.
And then the government changed and I was posted to the Ministry of Tourism.
Oh, really?
Yes. And that was in 2003. So I went to the Ministry of Tourism and I served in the Ministry of Tourism from 2003 until 2009.
Wow, 6 years.
6 years.
Wow. And you've done another 2 and another 1.
And
so all this was 9 years.
Yes, in total 9 years. So I went about doing my job as well as I could, and it was challenging being a woman. There were not very many women in government in those positions at that time.
Okay.
We were very few of us. So I served as best as I could and as well as I could, and I think I did my best.
God, I think you did your best, and that's important that you do your best.
Yes, I think
in everything
I did
we do,
my
you
best.
have to do your best.
Yes, otherwise I probably would not have served for that long.
Yes, for that duration.
So one day,
While you were serving, you
while
said.
I was serving, I was attending a board meeting, and my secretary called me and informed me that there were people in my office, and she suspected that they were police.
Really?
Yes. So I asked her, what were they looking for? Were they looking for me? She said yes, but I think it's best that you don't come to the office because it looks like they have come to arrest you.
Really?
And I was at a board meeting outside the office. So I thought, okay, I wonder what is going on. And I immediately called. I didn't have a lawyer as such because I never found the need to have a lawyer. So I called a friend of mine who was a lawyer, and I told her, I hear this, there are people in my office and they want to arrest me. And she asked me, Becky, where are you? I said, I'm at a board meeting. And she said, but you're all over the news.
Really? I was going to say, had something happened?
Yeah, I said, I'm all over the news. What has happened? She said, you've been arrested. And I told her, I haven't been arrested. I'm at a board meeting. Then she told me that if you haven't been arrested, you're going to be arrested. So I said, okay. And I asked her, what for? She said, it says in the media, it's all over, breaking news, that you've been arrested for corruption and you're going to be charged with corruption accounts. So I said, okay, so what do I do now? She said, come to my office and we'll see, we'll take it from there. So I went to her office. And I was really scared.
I would be scared. I'm scared now. I'm thinking that would be very scary.
I was really scared. So as I was in her office, she turned on her television, and there I was, you know, being reported as having been arrested by the Kenya Anti-Corruption. So I asked her, what do we do now? She said, the best thing is for us to go to the Kenya Anti-Corruption and you turn yourself in and they will let you know what they're arresting you for.
My goodness.
So I said, okay. I mean, I wasn't as calm as I am now.
I know I'm not calm. Did you call anybody else? Did you call family,
yes,
your spouse, your children? Who do you call? Parents?
My parents. The first people I called were my parents. And at that time, my parents were out of town. They were up country, so they were not watching
the news.
So I told them what had happened. And they told me they were leaving immediately and coming to town. I then called my children. At that time, they were not around. They were studying. And I told them what had happened. And they told me they had actually seen it on the internet, and their friends had called them. It was very sad.
That even the children know, even before you know.
Yes.
And it just begs, I don't know, I guess we cannot belabor it, but why were they announcing that they've arrested you when they hadn't arrested you? And they haven't even allowed somebody to tell their family?
Pastor, that was in 2009. And they had not arrested a senior government official.
Ever. So they were going to make an example of you.
So I was the first one, and it was hot news. So I went to the Kenya Anti-Corruption after making those few calls. Of course, my phone was ringing endlessly because people were calling me to find out what had happened. And those I could talk to, I just told them I didn't know. So I went to the Kenya Anti-Corruption and I turned myself in. So when I turned myself in, I was told that I was under arrest. And I asked why, and they read some charges for me, out to me, and I asked my lawyer, who was next to me, what do I do? And she asked them, but they said I had no option but to sign.
Sign the offense?
The charges. Yes,
Really?
the charges that were against me. And she told them, but I haven't done a statement. I haven't done a statement, and they told me it didn't matter that I was being charged for these offenses, and they told me to sign. So I signed. I read the charges, but as far as I was concerned, they were very, they were not something I could relate to.
The charges.
The charges. But in that situation, when you are caught in that, it's really, you are held against a corner. I was so scared, I didn't know what to do. This had never happened to me. And I hadn't seen it happening to anybody before. So I was obedient. I did what they told me to do. I signed. Of course, my lawyer was very hesitant, and she argued with them and gave them all sorts of legal terms and conditions why I shouldn't sign. They told me, you have no option because we're going to take you to court in the next few minutes, whether you sign or not.
Was it a weekday?
It was a Friday. So I told her, don't worry, let me sign. And I signed. And I was informed that I was being accused with 2 other persons. And we were going to be arraigned in court, the 3 of us. So I said, okay. I was nervous. I complied. So we sat there for a long time.
At the Kenya Anti-Corruption?
At the Kenya Anti-Corruption. And my lawyer kept on asking them, when are you taking her to court? Time was going by, and we knew come 5 o'clock, come 4 o'clock, the courts would be closed, and I would have to sleep in the cell.
You can't be serious.
Yeah. So after a lot of shuffling to and from, my lawyer arguing with them, we were taken to court. Just a few minutes to 4. That day, Pastor, was the day that Chomeldi was also in court.
He had shot somebody or somebody
Yes.
like that.
Yes. So all the international media was there.
At the court?
At the court. All the local media was there.
My goodness.
We were driven in a convoy to court. I was seated between 2 police officers and driven to court. And in front of our car, there was a car with a man who was standing with a video, actually taking the entire journey from Kenya Anti-Corruption to court. I felt like a sheep being taken to the slaughter. I actually didn't know what was going on. I felt like a sheep being taken to the slaughter, but I felt like someone watching a movie that was playing out about me
your life.
Before me.
I want you to hold it there, because I want us to continue this next week.
Yes.
This has been Lifestyle Thursday. Let's plug in next Thursday, and we shall pick up this conversation from there. God bless you. Bye-bye.